Seriously.
Are we recording?
Yeah,
We're
it's
recording.
counting.
Okay. So,
How do we start?
welcome to our first podcast. Lance and I have wanted to do this for probably 3 or 4 months now. We have a working name, Teamwork and Tangents. It's probably going to change 3,000 times, but we wanted to kick off this first episode and talk about our startup journey because whenever we share this story, people are fascinated. And honestly, in retrospect, I don't know if I would do it again. So,
No.
yeah, I don't think that I would. Yes, I would. Um, Chiropractic has given us an amazing life and it absolutely can be done. But our story was not without challenges. And the takeaway is that anybody can do it. If we can do it, so can you. And do you remember when we heard, so we joined a management group early on that we couldn't afford and quickly bailed. But what he said was that the first 3 to 5 years in business would be the most exciting.
Most
And
exciting.
they were. So, how do we summarize a couple year journey into a 20-minute podcast? We're going to do our best. So, Lance and I graduated chiropractic school. We had a 6-month-old, and we moved across the country from Kansas City to North Carolina, where we sit right here in Cary, and we love it. And we were so naive thinking that with our fancy business plan, we were going to walk into a bank and they were going to give us, I think we were asking $150,000. The graphics on our business plan were amazing. The projections were spot on. For sure, we were going to get money.
They were ambitious.
All right.
Projections.
They were ambitious. That's fine.
But this was 2010, so this was right after, what was it, 2008, mortgage crisis, all the banks were going under, and then we walk in with zero experience in business and pretty much zero experience in chiropractic other than what we had done in school, and said, hey, why don't you give us some money and then we'll figure it out, we promise.
Yeah. So fast forward 8 no's, but lots of offers to bank with people. We decided that we needed to get creative. And so there was an opportunity in a couple towns over to start a business in a gym. And so Lance did some digging around and found somebody local in Cary who had a chiropractic office in a gym. So he decided, I'm going to reach out to this guy. I'm going to go visit him, pick his brain, see what he's doing now. There are no mistakes. The universe does not make mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. And Lance walks into the gym.
Yeah. I randomly stopped by. I found out that it was local, went in to talk to this guy to see how he did it and what I could do so I could go to this other gym owner about 30 minutes away and talk to him about opening up in there. So I'm talking to him probably 15, 20 minutes into, he's explaining all about his practice and he's being very open, which is great, fantastic. I wasn't really expecting him to be that open and forthcoming with all of his stuff. And then I can't even remember exactly what he said. He said something that made me realize that we weren't really on the same page. I was talking about how to open a practice in another gym. Turns out this doc had posted on several pages and different associations, state associations and schools and all of their boards, saying that he had a practice that he was trying to sell, which actually was this little room inside the gym. He was working another job. This was kind of his part-time gig, so he was only there a couple days a month, which miraculously I happened to pop in on one of the 30 minutes a week or whatever that he was there.
There are no mistakes.
There are no mistakes.
Can I cut you off for a quick second?
Can you
feel it? Can you feel it? Okay. Okay. So this guy called himself the Unchiropractor, and he sold 30-minute.
He was just doing sessions, whatever needed to be done,
which was not what we wanted to do, and also not sustainable for business, which is why, in retrospect, he was a teacher, but at the time you don't know anything. So he had 2 active patient files, 2 or 3. He had a lot of standard process pamphlets and 2 or 3 active patient files.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
still active
Yeah.
today with us,
Yeah.
which is like really amazing. High
It's
five.
really cool.
But so this guy wants $10,000 for his practice. Now, mind you, we just moved across country. We have a 6-month-old. We saved maybe $2,000 or $3,000 from our student loans to cover us for a couple months. We don't have $10,000. So Lance says,
What did I say?
How
How about I
about-
just take over? Why don't I just take over the lease? And he said, okay. And he also gave us a table. He had a chiropractic table. It might have been the original chiropractic table from like 1895. It was pretty beat up, but it worked, and we were able to take over in that space, which was, I mean, even what was it? I think it was $600 a month,
Mhm.
and it was a 9 by 13 room. My favorite part about it was when you walk into the gym, you come back towards the locker rooms, and there's like a hallway, and then you go left. Yeah, so you go left to the men's room, and you go right to the women's room. And the chiropractic office was a door halfway down the hallway to the women's restroom. So most of the people that were talking to me were just talking to me, telling me I was going into the wrong locker room. And I was like, no, it's okay. This closet here is actually my I work here. So
So it was not the beginning that we thought it would be at all.
it was the beginning that we needed.
It was the beginning that we needed. Honestly, if we had been granted that $150,000, we probably would have blown it on stupid things.
We
Who
wouldn't have
knows
known
what would
what
have
to do.
happened? Again, there are no mistakes. So, fast forward, we're in the gym. We get the gym list, which was, a blessing for sure. We got a list of new members.
New members
every
from
single month.
the previous month. Everybody that had joined the gym.
And so Lance and his staff of one would cold call.
Just me.
I know.
I am
well,
the staff.
sorry. I know. You
I had
were
no
the staff.
staff.
You had no staff.
I was the
Side note, at this point, this is a fun fact and also important. We also had just had our second son in October. So this is about, this is,
very smart financial decision. That was.
nah, no one's ever ready for a baby. So this was October, we had Simon, and December, we lost our jobs doing medical file review, thankfully, because that really pushed the envelope to figure out what we were doing in our office.
Well, we had picked up part of the thing was that's what it was. So the guy that I took over from the practice, he had worked at a massage therapy school, and he wanted to make sure that I was able to cover his rent and what I was taking over. So he got me a position teaching medical terminology at first, and then I added in anatomy and physiology. So I was started off teaching that, and then through connections there, we also both managed to get some remote work doing workers' comp file review.
Oh, did we think we were rich?
Yeah,
oh my goodness!
We're making it.
We made it, but this company paid us at the time. It was $25 an hour to review workers' comp claims out of California, and we got double time on the weekends. So you bet we would have packed up those boys and headed to the beach and worked from our hotel rooms.
So they would nap, and we would get a couple hours worth of work in to cover the vacation.
But looking back, those little fail safes, the job teaching. I was also teaching yoga at the time, and especially those medical file review positions. They were enough to get by, and it was a complete disincentive to get after it in our office. Until one day in December, when Lance got the email first.
Simon was born in October.
These emails came that December. Lance got the first email that said, and this is for the medical file review, he said, anything that's in your inbox right now is the last work you have. We lost a major contract. Holy shit. So that was a little bit
Translation, you're fired.
Translation, you're fired. I mean, we were contractors anyway, whatever. Like your job, your
gig's not being renewed.
Yeah, the gig's up. So we of course were bracing for that same email to me. And in fact, it did come a couple weeks later. So it is Christmas time. We have just lost our cash cow. At this point, I'd have to look back on the tracking sheets, but I think Lance was probably adjusting 10 patients a week, maybe. at the gym.
And that's why the online work was a blessing and a curse, because instead of getting out there and trying to find new patients, I was like, okay, I can go spend an hour trying to get a new patient, or I can spend an hour guaranteed and work on this. So yeah, we weren't building anything.
And so again, there are no mistakes. We lost those jobs. Lance found a chiropractic consulting company. At that point, they were called Chiropractic Business Academy. We had, I think it was $7,000 down, and then it was going to be $1,700 a month. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I know the number made like your butt pucker. It was like, holy shit, we literally don't have that money.
I think it was like 1,800 to get started, or
doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Details. Regardless, it was
Blocked it
more
out.
money than we had. But here's the thing. It worked because we did the things, and our lives have completely launched since that point because we followed what they said. And so I say this to anyone who's contemplating any kind of business coaching in our space. I always see these posts where like, what do you think? I'm thinking of joining this. The answer is, if you're going to do the things, go follow a system.
Do the things.
Do the things. Just do the things and you will launch. So anyway, we joined this group. We literally could not pay for them. I think probably every third payment to them on the credit card did not go through.
Or they were calling and they're like, do you have another one?
Or they were calling. And so
there was travel involved. So
yep.
I went to California to learn how to get patients, like how to communicate with patients better. And that was like,
Lance left for 10 days when Simon was 2 months old.
Yeah.
And he learned how to do day 1, day 2 consultation, report of findings, communicate with patients. Anyway, it all worked out. But it was a scramble. And so when I say scramble, I mean scramble. So you guys don't expect to start a business and have it be easy. It's not, but you can push through and continue, and it will work out if you do the things. So you remember the credit cards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Lance went to CBA. I'm going to fast forward a bit because this podcast will be 7 hours. Went to CBA, came back, and so we're putting things into play. We have a list of new members at the gym. We're calling those people with actually, a compelling offer, getting them in, doing an exam, all the things. So our practice was growing.
Yeah.
But financially, we still had a huge outlay going out to this company. Thankfully, the rest of our overhead was fairly small, but
we had to pay them, and we had to pay all of our personal expenses.
Yes.
Just to get back to even baseline. With our other jobs that we lost. So yeah.
So during that time, and I was like way more hippie crunchy than I am right now, and so I did these things for toxicity reasons and financial reasons, but I would make our own laundry detergent. We ate beans and rice.
We had cloth diapers.
We had cloth diapers. I mean, we would have had cloth diapers anyway, but those are freaking expensive. Two kids in cloth diapers. And we had childcare to come in so that I made all the baby food. So childcare would come in for like 2 hours. I would run to the gym, treat one patient, and come home. It was a scrappy start, but all that to say, we had a running pile of credit cards, and collectively I think we probably had $5,000 in credit between all of them.
The funny thing, once you start running credit cards up, whenever you first start running your credit cards up, they will just start sending you more. They're like, this person, these people, they love credit.
But
credit. And then we started getting offers with like $500 limit, $200 limit. And then they're like, okay, now where's our money?
So how do we track it all? I used to keep like on the back of the credit card because it was freaking embarrassing to like buy a thing and have your cards declined. And I think I had PTSD from that. So did Lance for years afterwards.
Still do. I still don't like you.
It was the last time you had a card decline. It's never. But anyway, so we kept track of how much credit we had, and we spent everything we could. I'm going to share the one story about the Home Depot lunch and learn. So we started on the advice of this company, and it worked. We were doing lunch and learns at the time. So we would get sandwiches from this place called Roly Poly, and they were big enough that we could cut them into smaller pieces. They were roll-ups.
So they were rolled up sandwiches that they would normally cut in half and put them on a platter, and then I asked them to cut them an extra time. So
Hey,
that
it worked.
and then instead of providing a lunch, we said, well, we will bring a light lunch.
Yeah.
Instead of a lunch.
Yep.
So
we were very smart with our marketing. So this particular time, this one particular lunch and learn, we had fully maxed out credit cards. There was no more credit. It was like the roly-poly run was the last run. And we realized Lance realized he didn't have waters.
Well, so we normally get a half gallon of tea with
for some reason we didn't have that.
But we didn't have enough money to get
we didn't.
I could just afford the
okay. That's how that happened. So there was no iced tea, but we still had whatever, $25 in Home Depot credit card.
We had it wasn't a credit card, it was we had built storage space in the office, or we had built something in the office, and I took lumber back that we didn't use.
So you have store credit.
I had store credit. Yeah. So I had store credit for Home Depot. So I had to go there and use that store credit to get a case of water.
Yep.
So that we could take bottles of water in with our little mini sandwiches to do our light lunch and learn.
Yeah.
And that was a turning point.
It was a turning point.
That was probably the brokest we were.
It was the brokest. And so shortly after that, and then I'm going to switch to make this, not so doom and gloom. So shortly after that, Lance and I, and one of the things with couples in business is that you're either ramping each other up, or one of you is up and one of you is down. And that was the case with us. We were either both on, or one of us was like feeling really shitty and very dejected about things and wondering like, how much longer are we going to push on with this? I'm broke. I'm tired. Like, we can't afford anything. How are we going to do this? Well, never once, except this one time, did we both cycle down to that depth, right? Except the one time when we both did. And so Lance applied for a job at a car dealership in Durham because he's
40 minutes away.
Because
I didn't want to run into patients.
Embarrassing, right? Your chiropractor's a car salesman? Yeah. Are you freaking kidding me?
Nothing wrong with car salesman.
No, sorry.
That's not what it doesn't instill confidence as a chiropractor and success in business, and not necessarily the dual image that I was going for. But with the cycling thing, one thing that is very important when you're starting off is one person needs to be in charge of the finances. One person needs to know that there's no money.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Because I could not go into, there was already so much pressure with, going into some marketing events or maybe even having a patient come in. And I could not have any outside influence onto whether or not that person had to start care.
Let me translate that. We were absolutely broke AF.
Yeah.
We were. But Lance didn't know how broke we were.
Well, I knew we weren't rolling in money, but I didn't want that to sway any sort of treatment planning. Like, I need $5,000 today. So this person with their relatively minor condition now suddenly needs more visits
or something crazy like that.
So I wanted to make sure it was.
We needed to keep his clinical decision. We needed to keep him out of the finances, and we did that really well because we didn't want him sitting in front of somebody with knowing where we were, and we did that very successessly. So he didn't get the job in Durham selling cars. Freaking universe! Thank you. There are no mistakes, right? So
that was the same month. Like everything was late.
That was
a one time.
2023. Our credit
2013.
2023 is awesome.
We were fine.
2013, our credit, everything was 90 days late, except one thing, and that was payroll. By that point, we had one employee, I think, one or two employees. The company we were with at the time, the consulting company, was all about, pushing growth, hiring before you're ready to hire. And we have maintained that mentality throughout, and it's been a huge blessing for us. But all of that to say that most successful businesses don't become successful because they quit too soon. And there were probably 100 different stop points along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Where we could have quit and we didn't. And that's literally the only difference, is that you just don't quit. I suppose at a certain point, if things didn't turn around and we didn't get financially into the black, yes, you're not going to be a complete idiot and, second mortgage your house and all this stuff after it. You have to know when to walk away, but most people walk away too soon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's fast
Or
forward.
they're afraid of growth.
Or they are afraid of growth.
Because you have to have a financial outlay to level up. And that is, it makes you very nervous. But if you're waiting around until you have enough money to afford the next employee or the first employee,
you're never
going to do it, because you can't get to that level without that person.
Yeah.
So that was part of what we really had to wrap our head around with it, was that whoever we brought on, that person needed to be in a role that would pay for themselves in a 2-week time frame, basically.
I don't think it was 2
needed,
weeks, but
before payroll, it needed to.
Someone answers the phone and you don't, that's a new patient on your schedule, right? One time someone is at a marketing event with you and they can grab the person that you weren't able to, that's potentially a new patient in the door and under care.
Like, talk to them about
talk to them. Yeah, we're not grabbing people.
Just throw them in the back of the van.
But you have to pay for it. And we did have one employee at one point who was approved for a mortgage when we had just been denied. Yep. So, we rented for a long time until we bought. But really, so that was 2013 when it was really bad. And then every year after that, we had like exponential growth in those early years. It was very easy to grow 100, 150%, until you get to a certain level. And then the growth was trickling up steady, like 5%, 10%, 15% growth. And then COVID hit. And it's funny because right before COVID, Lance and I had a 5 and 5 year plan.
Yeah.
And we were under contract for our first one.
We were supposed to sign the contract the week that everything shut down for COVID.
Remember, no mistakes. Yeah. The doc that was an associate in this practice, as it turns out, had first right of refusal. And it extended our timeline 45 days for this doc to come up with financing.
To decide if he wanted to purchase it or not.
In those 45 days, the world shut down.
Yeah.
So thank you. But what's interesting is that it kind of, it took away the drive and the grind. And so now we're back at it, and we've got like these little side projects going on, and Lance is a serial inventor. And I think this next invention is actually massively scalable and a phenomenal idea. And we'll talk about that in another podcast. But we're back in growth phase. We're looking at another clinic location. We're starting some passion projects like this podcast.
We're done messing around.
So takeaway, startups are rough. They will knock you on your ass, but you have to get up and you have to keep going, because you can be successful. And we have an amazingly full life, and we owe it to chiropractic, and we owe it to grinding. Yep. I can't stand this culture right now that's like, you shouldn't have to grind. You shouldn't have to do hard things. You need to, balance yourself. And no, that's not true. When you're starting something and when you're getting it off the ground, you need to grind. And I don't see any other way to do it, unless maybe you're a trust fund kid and you can have other people do that grind for you.
It's not worth having if it's not, if you're not willing to work for it. Like, sure. It's just not, it's not nearly as rewarding if it's easy, I feel like.
I don't think so, but I'm sure it has probably been easier for some startups. But ours was not. And ours was also awesome. So go do the hard things, start practice. We don't know what this podcast is going to turn into, but
start any kind of business. It's going to be hard regardless.
Yeah.
So but you have to do it, and it's going to take a year, 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, whatever.
I don't know. AI is going to
You
totally
gotta get
change
started.
the game. What probably used to take years to launch, you could probably do in months right now. I don't know. We are just starting to scratch the surface of the capabilities of this. So go do the things. We don't know what this podcast is going to look like, but we're going to get in here and ramble. And our working title right now is Teamwork and Tangents. And so we're going to be sharing the things on teamwork and tangents. And if you guys have a thing that you think we should talk about, leave it in the comments. Peace.